Good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon, or whenever you're watching this. So, this is with the Moaning sods. That is not me taking the Mickey or being inappropriate. So, there's a club called the Moaning Sods, which is run by Laurie Lang. Everyone calls him Larry, but his real name is Laurie. Um, so, nice and friendly. I used to fish quite a lot of these lads when I was younger, and still obviously fish with them a little bit now. And whatchamacallit, when we go on White Acres, a lot of the Swindon boys are there. So happy days. So Larry said that there was a few spaces available to fish Tillys. So fair play. So me, John Walker, and Derek Newson turned up. Um, so I've never fished Tillys before, and I have fished Redhill a few times a while ago, but I haven't been there for, I don't know, it must be maybe a couple of years for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, because it's a stunning venue. I guess maybe we're just a bit sport for venues, so like so maybe fishing has become a little bit fragmented. I mean, I think, gosh, where could I have gone? I could have gone loads of different venues. So if I'm willing to travel sort of like an hour radius from my house, I hate to think how many venues I could fish. So anyway, let's get back to this. Don't need to talk about other venues. So Tilly's, I know nothing about. Um, I had a little bit of info off Andrew Mann, so I'm going to name drop. So cheers, mate. So basically, I started on pace short. The lake was really heavily coloured. Few fish moving around, not loads of like muggers or anything. The thing is we've had no rain, as you undoubtedly know, and a lot of venues are fishing pretty hard. So like even Penny's behind us. I'm not sure what won it, but a lot of the lads were admitting to like low hundreds. And obviously for Penny's, that's like, not fantastic. I still think catching £100 of fish is still decent, but obviously, like I say, a lot of these venues are struggling, I guess. Oxygen levels, high pressures, bright sunshine, not really ideal to catch fish. So started on pace short, really short, foul at one, come off. Then went a bit longer in the deeper water. It was all right, wasn't right. Went long on pace and just had problems with foul lookers. So been building up the peg by loose feeding. Had a few signs, and I just felt because the pegging's quite tight, because there's quite a few of us on it. I just felt maybe this just was never going to last. So you had to do a few things to sort that out, which is good because I like it when you've got to think about fishing rather than just be a machine. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like my bagging fishing, but now I've got old and fat. Sometimes I just like, like weights that are probably less than £200 now. You know what I mean? I quite like a lot of venues, like fishing windmill, for example, when say £150 going to be really good. I feel then that's potentially going to be fairer because there's more pegs that's capable of doing that. Whereas if you get like a runaway weight or like real bagging fest and you fall behind, then you potentially never ever going to catch up. So with this, spoke to Colin, name dropping a lot, which normally I don't do. So I spoke to Colin, the owner, and I said, "What do you reckon he'll win it?" And he said, "I reckon maybe 150." So wasn't sure how big the carp were. I was told there was a lot of decent sized carp in it, but to be fair, obviously this is a voiceover. Biggest fish I caught was maybe £4. Now again, they might not have fed because obviously bright conditions, few of us on the lake, big fish, they just feed when they want to. You know what I mean? So obviously conditions is far from perfect. Now there is a bit of a shortage of maggots and casters, and considering this is like fundamentally a club match, nice and friendly, I have got some maggots with me. I ain't going to bother using them. Simple reason being is I've got a festival coming up at Alv Church. I want to keep my maggots because there's a bit of a shortage, and I just felt fishing pellets to be a lot better because I was told there was quite a lot of nuisance fish in here. So basically, it's going to be pellets, shallow, paste on the deck. Happy days. That's all I'm going to do. This sort of like overshotted rig did catch a couple of fish, but they soon backed off, which I thought they would. I even tried a jigger, didn't even work. So not trying to tap and having a longer line, thinking that that would be better, but it seemed like you catch a couple of fish and they just back off really quick. I guess again because of the conditions. It is very bright, and obviously the fish just didn't really want it. You can see there's a cruiser there. I did set up a mugging rig, but I just got mugged off myself. So what's meant by a mugging rig is basically feeding no bait and slapping a pellet ideally in front of him or just trying to chase him. That's not everyone's cup of tea. Also, got to be a little bit careful how you mug as well, because don't want to take the, just gonna say it, don't want to take the piss, because obviously you got anglers like, what's a peg in? Maybe the pegs are 8 yards apart, so obviously don't want to start flicking rigs and trying to muggle, which might be in someone else's peg. So definitely don't want any ill feelings. So obviously, being a guest, friendly club match, I don't really want to be chasing fish, if that makes sense, because you don't want to be on someone's borderline. Rig wise, basically 018 main line to an 014 hook length. Maybe that was a bit heavy for F1s. I'm not so sure. But then obviously, there's quite a lot of carp in here. I did. I don't think I caught more carp than I did F1s, to be fair. And looking around the scales, I felt that there was more carp caught than F1s. Don't get me wrong, I had some nice F1s. I think I had an F1 about £3, and a lot of them were sort of like £2 a piece. And then a lot of the carp was sort of like, they varied in sizes, but I'd say probably average again is probably about £2 to £3. A few smaller ones, and apparently there's a few bigger ones, but didn't see very many of them caught, to be honest. Using 2.3 elastic through a short kit. Obviously got longer kits kitted up, so because the fish are quite small, I felt a short kit would be decent, get them out quick, shouldn't have any problems. Also, I don't really want elastic going everywhere and fish obviously tearing through other people's pegs as well. So you've got to be a little bit mindful on that. Now, looking around the lake, people that were catching well was Jace Robinson. Um, I believe he was on peg one. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure he was on peg one. He was on the lilies. And he was on the golden peg as well. He was catching quite well, but nature of the beast, he was unfortunately losing a few in the lilies. Now he's quite a strong lad and fishes strong gear and stuff. So if he struggled to get him out, I believe that everyone would struggle to get him out. To be honest, John Walker was catching on peg 19, and then Mick Lane was on peg. So I was on 17. So 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. I think he's on about peg 11. He's near the aerator, and he was catching well as well. Well, I thought he was catching really well. You can see the wind sort of blowing into him, so he was catching short and down his edges. But as it turned out, the fish were a lot smaller than I thought. I thought he had a bigger weight than myself, to be honest. It's funny, isn't it? When you look at everybody else, everyone else always seems to be catching more fish than yourself. So pace rigs wise, I just fished 020 straight through, really coloured. So I just fished Colmic Spider line. Really got back into that line, to be honest with you. I forgot how good it is. It's just so durable. I've been fishing it at Windmill, and it just doesn't let you down. Now, believe me, I'm not a great fan of Colmic as in a company, but fair play, their line, some of their products are second to none. So you can take what you want from that statement. So very, very strong line. Take your time with the knots, as I've said before. Make sure they're well wetted and stuff, but very, very durable line. Then a size 12 hook, and then a John Walker 0.2 gram float. It's quite light. A couple of shot down the line. I think that's really important. And then longer, I did actually fish like a half a gram pace float because it was about 8 foot. Yeah, maybe a tiny bit more, about 8.5 foot. It was hard to figure out the feed in, to be honest with you. Basically, you just wanted to feed when your float wasn't in the water, and just loose feed in 4 mil pellets was better than toss pot on it, as in putting them via a pot. So fish would definitely come into noise. I wish the venue was a little bit closer. I definitely would start going there more. Actually, I should just start going there more, full stop. So results wise, John Walker won it with £128. Jace Robinson just missed out. He had £124. There was another lad, forgive me, I think he had £117. I had 107. Alan Smith, I believe, won his section with £71. So it fished all right.